I like the rain when it's
Oh, hey. Almost didn't see you guys there for a sec. My bad, y'all. Yo, what's good, everybody? It's your boy PK, and welcome back to another Blue Protocol Star Resonance video. This is a video, and ultimately will be a series that I've been thinking about making since the start of the game. But now that we are a week through the game, I figured a better time than any to go over them. Especially since, if you've been like me, you've probably been through some runs where even people around your gear score, if not higher, still don't know some mechanics. And that is, of course, being that we will be talking about the hard mode dungeons for all the gear farming. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and kick it off with the very first one you unlock, which is the Goblin hard mode dungeon, telling you about all the mechanics that you need to know and focus on so that you're not getting swiped and you're not having to waste any revive candies. With that being said, let's just jump straight into it. Alright, so jumping straight into the Goblin Nest, you will, as with any given dungeon, have to defeat all of the regular monster mobs in order to complete the spatial investigation. You will see a tracker on the top left side of your screen, showing you the points you've accrued so far from the mobs you defeated, and it's a good way to tell if there are any mobs that you accidentally left behind. In Goblin Nest, you will see various walls with sigils blocking off your path. Once you defeat the mobs in the area, you will gain the sigil on your character, and by doing a normal attack on the wall, it will disperse. For this regular nest area, you will notice that there are two goblin mages to look out for, which are the Storm and Fire goblin mages. For the Storm mage, he will dish out tornadoes that when hit by them, you will be given a slow debuff that only lasts a couple of seconds and deals little damage. To easily pass this part, just use your Phantom Dash ability to quickly fly through the storms and then you can one-shot the mage. After defeating the mobs in the next area and breaking that wall, you will encounter the Fire Mage that will shoot bursts of fire through the corridor. And if you are around the recommended gear score, this damage can hurt. Once again, just use your Phantom Dash ability to quickly fly through the flames and one-shot the mage. Outside of those two mages, the rest of the dungeon is chill, and you can go through the zones just defeating all of the regular mobs. One thing to mention for this dungeon, and for all the other ones as well, is that there is a low % chance for a special mob known as the Bane Lord to randomly spawn on the map, with it always spawning in the room that you're currently in. By defeating the Bane Lord and collecting his Bane Scythe, he will give you an additional drop after completing the run that will either be one of two boxes. The higher chance box is a selector box that offers legendary pieces of gear that correspond with the dungeon drops, so for Goblin's Nest, it will be the choice between the glove or earrings. The lower chance box will be a legendary weapon box that will always give you the weapon for your class. So although it is some RNG, you do have the chance to obtain some extra goods whenever the Lord himself spawns. Two key things to note with the Bane Lord. First is that you must complete the run after defeating the Bane Lord in order to receive the extra drop, as it will be added to the final drop screen in the rewards area after defeating the boss. And second is that the Bane Lord does have a weekly limit to how many drops it will give you, which is 5, and it accounts for all Bane Lord defeats across all dungeons. After you have received the capped amount of drops, Bane Lord can still appear in runs, but defeating him will no longer give extra gearboxes and will instead drop extra normal mats, so do keep that in mind. Again, it is a weekly cap, so it will reset at the weekly reset time. Finally, after completing the spatial investigation, you will unlock access to the Goblin Boss room and begin the final boss fight. The Goblin Boss himself will use some normal non-lethal attacks and has 4 main mechanics to take note of. Beginning off first is the Tank Buster, where the boss selects one player, which is usually the tank, to perform a heavy single target hit on that player. This attack can one-shot you if you're in the area, so be cautious. You'll notice a red ring and arrow form around the tank, indicating that the boss is charging up for this mechanic. To get through this mechanic, if you're the tank, use a mitigating damage skill to soak up the damage and allow the healer to heal you if it's necessary. If you're not the tank, simply avoid being in the red area and you're good. The second mechanic is when the boss becomes invulnerable to attacks and summons the shield goblins on 2 sides of itself, and after a while, the boss calls them to charge. Since the rows cover the whole area and face both directions, standing in their path will be a guaranteed hit, but again, even if you are at the recommended gear score, this attack is not one-shottable. You will notice that one shield goblin in each row will have a blue storm shield indicator hovering over them, indicating to you which ones to focus and take down. By taking them down, they will drop their shields for you to pick up and use for the next mechanic. If you're only able to defeat one of the goblins on time though, no worries, as the boss will summon a third shield randomly on the field that you can pick up for free. After you have defeated those shield goblins, you will notice that the areas will be open so you can stand inside of them to avoid being hit by the rest of the charging shield goblins. Going into the third mechanic, the Thunderball, the boss summons a storm zone around the map, and stepping into it will deal massive amounts of damage over time, so be aware. Then, the boss will create a storm shield in front of itself, and a blue arrow indicator will show who the boss is targeting with the Thunderball. However, the person he targets will always be a player who has the storm shield equipped from the last mechanic. If multiple players are grouped together and you're unsure if he's targeting you, just move around the boss, and if the boss rotates to face you, then you know it's you, as the boss will continually focus on the targeted player for this mechanic. To complete this mechanic, the targeted player needs to use the special key to equip their shield and deflect the Thunderbolt to either the left or right side of the boss, and the second player with the Storm Shield will equip theirs to deflect the ball back onto the boss from behind its shield. Be careful of this mechanic, as failing to deflect it and allowing it to hit the storm zone or hitting the ball onto the boss's shield will cause it to explode, and it will AoE wipe the entire party. If you're vastly higher than the recommended gear score though, you can survive this hit, but it still does a lot of damage, so be cautious and have some heals going. Now finally, for the fourth mechanic, which players call the Pizza, the boss will summon pizza-shaped storm zones on the ground in a sequence. You will see these zones highlighted blue on the ground below you. To get through this mechanic, take note of the sequence of pizzas the boss puts down and place yourself accordingly. Once you see either the first or second zone has finished blowing up, you can just move into the empty space to bypass the rest of this mechanic. If you're slower at killing the boss though, then he can do this mechanic multiple times in a row, so be aware of the sequence that he starts at all times. Now, since that is the final mechanic, it is good to note that after that one, if again you are slower at killing him, he will start all over again and start from his first mechanic. So as long as you remember these tips, you'll be good and you can get past all of the mechanics if necessary. And with that, you've officially slain the boss goblin. You can now wait for the dungeon to complete and load into the reward screen, where you can see what drops you've gotten for clearing it. Hopefully you guys got some good legendary pieces, and hey, if not, now you know how to go about this boss and its mechanics in order to keep grinding it out for your better pieces of gear. With that guys, that's going to do it for this Goblin Hard Mode Dungeon Guide. Again, I do plan on making this a series for all of the geared dungeons and maybe some other content as well. So if you do like this content, make sure to like, comment, and hit that subscribe button so we can keep growing the channel. And as always, I do appreciate you guys' love on the content. Naturally, you can expect that the next dungeon guide will be on the Tina's Mind Realm, so be sure to look out for that one when it fully releases. But until next time guys, I'll catch y'all. Peace out y'all.